How's it going? So I want to make a very, very quick video on sociopaths, scientists, and simpletons. Right? So the videos you want to watch would be number one, probably this one here, Ray Dalio. Right? So he is a billionaire. So long story short, he was saying that he's a self-made guy, everything he does is because of him, blah blah blah. Now, as a society, we have figured out that it's pointless to talk to these people and ask them what do they think. The best approach would be to ask people who know them, have worked with them, and some of them are on par with them. What do they think, right? Because if you ask these guys, they're gonna tell you. Like, I'll give you an example. There was a dude, he was asked how did you become successful, and he said, oh, I worked 100 hours every single week for 16 years straight. Now, typical rags to riches stories, you know what I mean? They try to paint the picture that they are the heroes, but based on my interpretation of society, no one ever in their lifetime makes it by themselves. It's just simply not possible, right? When I played for Estonian national team, right, on the first day, we came to the gym for our first training session for Estonian national team. We had this coach, he was very, very experienced. He said, hey, the first thing I want you to do is to call your parents and your coaches and thank them, because no one makes it to this level by themselves. Do you understand? So, largely successful people are manifestation of good people, environments, governments, opportunities around them. However, because they have mental illnesses, which I described in my in here, right? They tend to attribute everything to themselves. Like, you can think about classic sociopath like Grant Cardone, right? He says you have to think about control everything, that you are in charge of everything, including stuff like the weather. He was saying that his child, because people are saying, okay, but your kids are successful financially. They are already famous. They're like 8-year-old. They are already giving business presentations. But he said, yes, but they were selecting their parents while they were in the womb. Their spirits were selecting the parents. I was like, okay, you have to have mental illness to be able to come up with concepts like this. To be so delusional that you literally say that your spirit is selecting the parents, right? So, long story short, in this guy's case, he basically attributed success all to himself. It turns out that he got, basically, like, okay, so he was attributing success to himself, and people saying, oh, he was a child of a jazz musician and his classical rags to riches story. That's not true, because he was adopted, not like completely adopted, but whatever, right? He got looked after by very, very, very wealthy parents, right? He was like a golf club boy or something. He was basically handing over golf clubs to this wealthy family. He spoke to them a little bit about finance, investing, and stuff like that, and they basically saw some potential and said, you know what, we're gonna look after this guy, right? So they took him as their own child, effectively speaking, right? Now, how many people do you know that are financially literate at a very young age? A lot of people, right? So you can say, okay, yeah, he's smart because he reads on investing, he reads on finance at an early age, which I did myself as well. But what differentiates him from everybody else is the magical opportunity and luck of having that opportunity, right? So I'll link this article in the description below, The Role of Luck in Success, Scientific American, right? So in here what they did was they just analyzed, okay, is it the skill and talent, or is it the exposure to opportunities, which is luck? So they randomized people across the game. Some of them had super high talent, and then some of them had shit talent, and then there were random opportunities that people would be exposed to. So if you are super talented, you will mine more points out of the opportunity than someone who is less talented, right? So certain level of talent gives you a head ahead of everybody else. But fundamentally, the talented people did not perform above average. In fact, they were just bang on average, right? But the guys who definitely shined were the guys who got a lot of opportunities that were just... Because all opportunities in here were random, kind of like, you know, somebody... Imagine like two people. One person goes, he gets exposure to a job, one pays $30, another job pays $70. Do you know what I'm saying? The opportunities are the same, only one has better payoff. So this is kind of the same thing in here, and they were completely random. And you'll see that people that are lucky are by far better than those that are talented, right? So when people tell you, hey, you're working in the company, your boss is a jerk, right? Should you continue to hustle in hopes of getting approval from your boss and getting a better pay because you worked so hard? The answer is no. You should go and change your opportunity, right? Do not hustle, because that just tells me that the opportunity, that the box you're in has a shitty opportunity. You need to change the box. Does that make... You still want to work harder, but you want to have higher payoff. Does that make sense? Like, I'll give an example. You're born in some kind of third world country. Is it profitable for you to try to become the best accountant in the region? No. You're better off making enough money and move to West, to America, to Ireland, to Germany, somewhere where there are a lot more opportunities, so that your hard work now has better return on investment, if that makes sense, right? So all of those guys, basically, like this guy here, he's saying, oh, I'm so good. No, you're not. It's just exposure to opportunities. Like, fundamentally, how capitalism work is just this. It's like a game. It's literally this, right? So how do you win this? Unless you are born... Like, there's only 3 ways to become super rich. I'm talking like 10 million plus, right? You can either be born into it, marry into it, or get lucky, right? There is no hard-working way to do it. It's just impossible. Do you know what I'm saying? Now, sometimes opportunities appear when there is, like, for example, you can go and do property, right? I know a lot of people who became very, very wealthy. If you look at their age, they were born in the same decade, all of them, right? Like Kiyosaki's, all of those people who were real estate magnates, right? All of them are relatively the similar age. Do you know what I'm saying? Like I know a dude who is relatively similar age. Back then, yes, okay, you could get rich by real estate. Now that door has been closed. So you see, like, again, opportunities, that's nothing to do with them. It's to do with exposure to opportunities. Okay, so I hope that this point is clear, right? So naturally, I'm gonna link this. This is probably the most important article. Then you want to watch this guy. Now, another thing he didn't say was that he got married to a woman that is almost $1 billion net worth. Do you know what I'm saying? It's the same with this guy. What's his name? Let me find him. One sec. Yeah, I found this guy. He's on YouTube, and he's promoting his real estate courses. He's like, buy my courses, buy my courses. I will tell you how to get rich like me. Doing real estate. Now, he is a complete scammer. Like, this guy is total scam, right? So, if you look at his wife, right? Let me just find her, one sec. Yeah, so you basically want to watch this video here. He just talks about, like, this guy, Chris, he digged up a bit of background on this guy. Now, this guy, Kevin, right? He basically married into giga wealthy. Like, this lady from the age of 18 was already managing multiple properties. Her family has estates of properties, right? So he goes ahead and marries into wealth. His first job is managing the real estate, which he already has, and now he's selling you courses on how to buy real estate efficiently, though he himself never have done it. Do you understand the problem? Like, it's weird shit, right? So you can kind of watch this video yourself, right? So long story short, it's the same shit in here, right? So this guy, the problem with him is he will sue anyone who's trying to write biography about him without his approval. And he is trying to be, based on these videos here, he is trying to basically control the information about him, kind of like Putin. Like in this video and book also, they describe that his favorite characters are like Putin and the Chinese guy, what's his name, Xing or something like that, right? So do you see, like, it's not really about talent or hard work or creating some kind of scientific discovery or whatever. It's about manipulation. It's more like lying, stealing, you know, like at the end of the day, this all that shit is irrelevant, because all it does is create money, perception, but cancer is still there, and we're nowhere near spaceships. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, we need the spaceships, because eventually the how to say, our universe is gonna end, right? Because the sun is gonna become the white dwarf, right? And when that happens, it's a dark hole, and it's game over basically for humanity, right? So we kind of need to build some spaceships. Do you know what I mean? Like, whoever has like a better swimming pool in the backyard is kind of like not really important when I think about long term. So that's one of the things I want to talk about, is like the difference between sociopaths, scientists, and simpletons, right? So other video, if you want to see sociopaths, is this one here, decline of WeWork, so you can see how they just manipulate information. Now, okay, so okay, let me do one sec. Alright, so sociopaths, they tend to be very, very good at manipulation, right? So they are like you can think of sociopaths and scientists, they are slightly similar. Let's just do this, right? Now, sociopaths and scientists, they are both very, very hardworking. They are basically workaholics, right? Very smart, very gifted. Think about them as like the Jedi. And then these guys are just people, simpletons. They're just kind of like civil, just society. People living in the world, you know, like what is it called? The red and the blue pill. These guys would be the blue pill. So they don't want, they're very ignorant. They don't want to know about the global warming. They don't want to know about the wars. They just want to watch television, enjoy a sandwich, you know, like eat coffee, go on a park and eat picnic, or, you know, go some kind of take pictures near the waterfalls, you know, kind of like very, very, just live in the world and have kids, and that's it. Do you know what I mean? That's kind of like simpletons. I just call them simpletons, you know what I mean? Because they're just not, their brains not tend to be very, very complicated, and they don't want it to be complicated. They just want a simple life, and that's it. Which is completely fine, right? Completely fine. Now, scientists, sociopaths, they are, like I said, they're like top 10% of population would be these guys. Now, this would be like 90%, I'd say. Like 90% in here. I'm not sure, these are probably like 3%. Now, these, don't quote me on this, but this would be like maybe 7%. I'd say they're a bit more scientists than sociopaths. Right? So, now, I'd say fundamental difference between the two is that these guys are short-term thinkers. That's why, like, if you think about CEOs, right, they tend to be sociopaths. They tend to be, right? They think in one generation, right? They think, okay, I'm going to get my KPIs very, very high, so I look good, I'm going to sell a lot of books, right? And I'm going to be remembered forever, right? But you'll be like, okay, but getting those KPIs is going to just destroy the environment and over-rev the company, which is not going to be good for the long term. But he'll be like, but I won't be there. Do you know what I mean? So they're all about this kind of like getting remembered. It's just my kind of, obviously it's my theory, it's not a fact, you know, it's just my opinion, but they tend to think one generation, right? Tend to be. Now, scientists tend to be long-term thinkers. Right, so now we can see, so like I wanted to show this evidence. Where's the evidence for it? Yeah, so if you watch this in here, the Sam Bankman-Fried, he's a classic sociopath, right? So he is, the segment you want to watch is his Caroline Ellison, his conversations with her. So at one point, she asked him like about risk taking, right? And he said, that's what he said. He said, I would be happy to flip a coin if it came tails, the world would be destroyed, as long as heads would double the world, like the good in the world, right? Now think in terms of one sec. So he's basically saying, okay, 50% chance of high win, 50% chance of pure death, right? Now this is not a viable strategy because you have to understand, at 50% probability of dying, after 3 turns you have 100% chance of destroying the society. Do you understand? So all those benefits that you've gotten, let's say we have win, win, death, right? Now these benefits no longer relevant because you have now died. And at 50% probability, you are guaranteed death. Guaranteed. That's how you see all those sociopaths. It's not the matter of if they're gonna get eventually jailed or killed or they have to go into exile, right? It's the question of when, right? Yes, because you see, this is a short-term thinking that is just driving me insane with them. Do you know what I mean? Like the only way you want to play something like this is if this is a poker theory, actually. I'm not really gonna get into it, but you have to kind of, how to say, you have to play in such a way where over 100 turns you are always profitable. Does that make sense? So let's say you started with $100, over 100 turns, even under worst case scenario, you're still gonna be with 101. So not only are you maintaining your principal, which is your $100, right? But over time, you are guaranteed to maintain what you have and get better. Does that make sense? If you're playing a game where there is probability of dying, you should never play this game. Does that make sense? Because over time, that probability will occur, and when that probability occurs, all the benefits no longer matter. Does that make sense? Right? So that's what I'm saying, is that those, like these sociopaths that tell you like all those Kevins, all those Dalios, all those Cardones, they are short-term thinkers, right? So that's the problem with them, is eventually, like, I think Cardone has a suit right now, lawsuit. That's like his 3rd lawsuit right now, I think. Because he got, I don't know, I read something on news somewhere that he has, like, there's some kind of lawsuit, but he was saying, oh, yeah, you know, buy my real estate. I looked at his bonds that he's selling, and there was 6%. I was like, dude, this guy, there's no way, right? There's just no way. While he himself is making 20%. There was a video by some dude, I think it was like 2 or 3 years ago, and he did the maths, and like, Cardone basically is buying property and then flipping it to his own investors. So you're not getting the juicy deal on the purchase, you're getting what Cardone is selling you it for. And his markup was like almost 20%, right? So it's like, it's ridiculous. You know what I mean? Like, you're not with him in the deal, you are basically his customer that he is overcharging the property for. It's like, it's absolutely insane. I think that's about it. I just wanted to, okay, so the scientist guys are the good guys, right? Like, sociopaths, like, scientists can't get rich. I'll tell you straight away. They're just, because they cannot think like this guy. I'll show you this video here. Brian King Legend. He is a classic sociopath, right? So when eBay came out, he instantly, on day one, figured out that you can make a pictures and good presentation, people gonna send you money, and you never sell them the product. You never send them the product. You just get the money, and that's it. I did not even think about something like this. Like, for me to think like, I can't even think like that. Do you know what I mean? I would think, okay, how do I compete on the market? Okay, I have to have some kind of advantage with my product, right? I have to improve it in some way, have to add some kind of value to the human, right? That's how I sell, right? And if I cannot do that, right, I probably should not play that game, right? But these guys do not think like that. They think, okay, how do I convince that person that what I have is valuable, and then get his money, and then just adios. That's what I think. Like this guy, another one was, what's his name? Gary V, I think. Gary V. This guy here. Oh, this guy is giga sociopath. He had an interview with, what's his name? Larry King, I think. Yeah, this interview here. Because he had just exploded on social media. I want to see what's up with that guy. And he was proud. I shit you not. He was proud with, like, complete conviction, was telling Larry King that he was climbing into people's back gardens, picking their flowers, then running onto the front door, knocking on the door, and then selling them their own flowers. And he said it was an excellent business venture because by picking their flowers, you already know what type of demand the customer has, and the sale becomes easy. Like, when I was listening to this, I was like, one thing I understood, I will probably never be super rich. Like, I cannot do that. Do you know what I mean? I just cannot. Like, all of these guys have very high net worth. Very, very high net worth. Do you see, like, what I'm saying is that capitalism by society, like, the problem with capitalism is that it breeds these guys. And, like, that's not very useful in the long term. Do you know what I mean? Because this picking flowers and selling, and then, you know, on social media telling people to buy cryptocurrency and NFTs is not very useful. Yes, it creates jobs and stuff like that, but, like, you see, there is too much distraction, because now you have to sue the guy, now you have to, you know, over time you have to, obviously, he'll probably be in a lot of lawsuits, like Sam Bankman-Fried, eventually somebody's going to sue him, you know, then it finds out that those cryptocurrencies was all a gigantic fraud and blah, 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 and, you know, and off we go into the, like, we're not getting close to spaceships. I just want the spaceships, do you know what I mean? So, that's what I'm saying, is that these guys cannot just think like that. They just cannot come up with solutions of knocking on the door, of stealing something from there and then selling it back to the guy. It just doesn't. It's too difficult for guys like us to think like that. Do you know what I mean? It's just that's why they say, you know, like, entrepreneurs have to be a special type of person. Like, they just have to be sociopaths. And statistically, there's like 3 or 4% of them in the. Actually, what's the statistic on sociopaths? 1 sec. Yeah, so roughly 1 to 4%. So you see, like, I averaged it out. Well, I said 3%, but it's actually a little bit less. So this is like 1 to 4%, right? 1 to 4%. So you see, like, this is mental illness, but in capitalism it has its benefits because it creates jobs. You know, I mean, cryptocurrency. I mean, doesn't do anything, but yeah, it creates jobs. You know, there is, like, the gross domestic product is increasing because there is money being circulated in the economy. You know, you have to build websites, you know, you have to sell them, you have to send the ownership details, you have to register shit, you know what I mean? It's just kind of like, it keeps these guys busy, so it has certain level of benefits. But, like, we're not getting closer. Like, these guys will not get us to the spaceships. But these guys will. Do you know what I mean? So, I drifted off. 1 sec, let me just think. Yeah, so fundamentally what I'm saying is that these guys are the good guys, and you need to be very, very careful, very, very careful of these guys. Right? That's why I'm saying is that you need to make sure that when you're dealing with these guys, always check, are they regulated? Are they regulated? Right? Because, right, if an entity that is run by a sociopath is not regulated, he's going to pull the rug on you. Right? If he's regulated, that means government is watching him and make sure that he doesn't cross the line. Does that make sense? Because you have to remember, these guys are exceptionally good at business. Right? They're good at finding opportunities. They're good at marketing. You know, they're good at. Some of them are good at. I don't know if they're good at relationship building. I'm not sure, because I have no idea. I haven't studied them, but I'm just going off what I see when I read about them. Right. But fundamentally, you just have to ask a question: when you're dealing with these guys, are they regulated? And if not, then just don't engage with them because they will pull the rug. Pull the rug means they're gonna tell you, "Oh, you can buy my. I'm gonna drive over to you with something super valuable. Just pay me up front. I'll deliver it to you, and then we do a business deal." Well, what's gonna happen? You're gonna pay him up front, and then he's just gonna disappear on you, and that's it. Or he's gonna deliver something that is gonna be like nowhere near what the marketing said, right? So again, like, remember I said that they are the game master is the government, right? Government is the game master. So government makes sure that keep these guys in check. So the way they do that is through regulation and auditing. So always make sure that when you're dealing with these guys, are they regulated, right? And that's it. Okay, take care, bye-bye.